inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to open them. The awakened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody.
Oh, good morning, everyone. We have a little time for announcements. We're delighted to have Peter Cunningham with us this morning to share his video with us, and we're going to be enjoying that shortly. We also have Moshe. I don't know if Moshe is still here. Moshe Cohen, a good friend from San Francisco. It's wonderful to see friends and new faces here. I guess the first thing we always want to draw attention to is if there is anyone that is ill in our community, we want to know about it so that we can direct resources that we have to helping them. Or if there's anyone that is not able to leave their home for reasons of their health, we want to know about that so we can, again, we have Sangha members that are more than willing to do shopping or deliver supplies to any of our members in our community if you need it. So please let the Zen Center know if you you need help in any way or you know of someone that's sick in our community. Just a few announcements. Let's see, our Zen Care Mask project continues. We've now distributed 1,700 masks. This last week we sent 80 masks to the Pine Ridge Lakota Reservation, and we sent another 50 through Chris Rooney to the Flathead Indian Reservation. I believe that's in Montana. So we continue to make masks. We have a network of about 30 intrepid souls that are cutting and sewing and delivering masks. We really need people that have sewing machines that know how to sew at this point. If you have a sewing machine and you know how to sew and you'd like to join us, we would be so grateful for your generosity of your time. Maybe you know a friend or a neighbor that knows how to sew that is wanting to do something in these times. Let them know about our network, and we'd be happy to have them join in making masks. Our foundation series continues. I'll be teaching the 7th class in that series on Tuesday at noon. That class is called Finding Clarity. And we're also beginning a new series of 8-week series called Principles of Mindfulness that will be taught by Chris Dussel starting Tuesday, June 23rd at 2 p.m. And that whole class will be online as well. And you can find information about those classes on our website. What else? Sensei and I are going on a 2-week vacation starting today. It's a stay-at-home vacation, so but we're gonna go out and do some hiking, but we'll be around. So we'll continue to we'll continue to do some work, but we'll have some downtime too. So. Are there any announcements for any other announcements someone wants to make or about Robert?
Yeah, I just want to mention that Interfaith Zen Circle is meeting Wednesday night on Zoom, 7 to 8. We only go an hour. Zoom link, I'll be sending that out, and it's also in the most recent email to members. We're going to be reading from this pretty remarkable book in discussing embracing the inconceivable interspiritual practice of Zen and Christianity. This is by Ellen Burks, who's a Dharma successor of Robert Kennedy, who was a Dharma successor of Bernie Glassman. And we started a conversation saying, you know, Robert Kennedy says Zen is not a religion. It doesn't conflict with him being a Jesuit priest. Well, his student Ellen has a pretty different take on that, really different. So we'll be talking about that 7 to 8 on Zoom. If you have any questions, just email me, my robert.schwach@clmc.org.
Any other circle announcements?
Could Robert give the title of the book again?
Yes, Embracing the Inconceivable.
Okay.
And the subtitle is Inner Spiritual Practice of Zen and Christianity. It's just published. I mean, it's a brand new book. It's very timely for our circle, and it's amazing. I think it's going to be a classic myself. It's really great.
Who's the author again?
Ellen Birx, Birx, and she is a Dharma successor, you know, of Robert Kennedy, and she now is kind of is the head teacher at a Zen center in Blacksburg, Virginia, called New River Zen Center.
Well, Father Kennedy is also a Jesuit priest, so that's interesting.
Right, that was her teacher, but she comes out of the United Church of Christ tradition, which is very progressive.
Yeah, that's my denomination.
Yeah, that she has a pretty different take on this stuff than her teacher.
Yeah, okay.
If there's no other announcements, I'd like to just go ahead and start to introduce Peter. And Ara is here too. I see Ara back there. Hi, Ara. It's so lovely to see you both. I'm just so, I'm verklempt. I don't know what to say. Peter is here.
I'm verklempt too.
Peter is a very dear and old friend. We've grown up together in the Dharma and been together in many different places in the world. So I'm introducing you, Peter, to
I just want to say we didn't really grow up together. You were a teenager when I was born in the Dharma.
Oh, well, okay.
You're way ahead of me. But yeah, I was going to throw it to you, Joshin. And June, where have we been in the world together? We've been
to Auschwitz.
Yeah. I try not to say that word out loud, but it's hard to avoid it.
We've been to Jerusalem together.
Yes, we tried to make peacemaker circles where Palestinians and Israelis would speak to one another. That was a failure.
We've been to Nanjing, you and I, in China, and that was to try to start a Bearing Witness retreat there, and that was a total failure.
No, it wasn't a total failure. 12 Japanese came in the second year, and it was only because, I was remembering this last night, you saved the day, Joshin. There was a final negotiation between Kaz Tanahashi representing, well, he was,
yeah.
The Japanese, it was about the name of the thing. So the Chinese wanted to call it the Retreat for the Nanjing Massacre. Is that right? And the Japanese insisted on calling it an incident, the Nanjing Incident. And after a week of working together, the whole thing nearly fell apart, in the final meeting, and you saved the day by coming up with the term, the Nanjing Tragedy.
Ah, right, I remember that.
You should have been a diplomat. Yeah.
Oh,
and Rwanda, were you? I forget.
I wasn't in Rwanda.
And June took us to Hawaii in recent times, which was fantastic. If any of you get the chance to go to Hawaii with these two, you go really deeply into Hawaiian culture.
Right, it was a meditation and hula retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaiian dance. That was pretty fun. Yeah, we'll have to do that again sometime.
I wasn't a champion hula dancer, but what I took away mostly was that, like the ocean, we're always in motion. And I try to remember that, even when I'm sitting still.
I want to add one thing, and Moshe is here also.
Yeah, Moshe, are you still here?
Moshe from San Francisco. He is the head, I think, of Bernie Glassman's Order of Disorder.
Right.
OD, O-D, Order
I'm here.
of Disorder.
I'm here.
There he
Hi.
is. Monsieur Moshe.
You can.
Oh,
You have to bow backwards to life. That's all I've got to say. Just, bow backwards to life. Yeah.
yeah. Hi, Moshe.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Right, and Moshe is doing some workshops on the art of lightfulness. Lightfulness, right?
Yeah, I'm teaching every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time for the Zen Peacemaker International. It's like a 45-minute lighten up series that you're welcome to join.
That
It's a
sounds
Zoom thing, of course, you know.
That sounds really fun. I haven't made it yet, but I plan to. Yeah.
So nice to have you here with us, Mr. Yoo-Hoo and Cuckoo. And
Thank you. Yes, I want to remind everyone that the motto of the Order of Disorder is "Be unprepared."
oh, I thought it was "Don't be here now."
That's another one.
Oh,
Profound teaching. Bernie made me the first founding president of the Order of Disorder, and then fired me because I refused to make a list of the members.
I know. I never knew if I was a member or not. I never got any mailings or anything.
Well, the
So
way
that-
yeah, each of us have a different set of conceptions about it, which is the way it should be. But mine is that we're born members of the Order of Disorder. The only official act that we can do is to drum somebody out of the order.
Oh, I think. So,
And I want to also welcome new people who have come today. There's some new people here. So welcome Jean Evans, who is out from, where are you? Outside of San Francisco, Jean? Somewhere around there.
Yes, yes, I'm in San Rafael. I'm actually in the middle of Sesshin,
oh,
and we're on a breakfast break. So I thought it was okay to come and zoom in,
Fabulous.
wanting to support Peter and all. Thank you.
well, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. We're going to be doing something a little unusual. So I have to give you some instructions about how we're going to watch this video. We're going to play the video on Zoom, but it turns out that the video is a little, what's the word? Diminished. It's not the quality of the video is not as good when it's played through Zoom as when, if you were to go, we're going to recommend that you all leave this meeting and go watch Peter's video on his website, and I have his website in the chat window right now. And
Well,
you can,
or we're going to also show it here, right?
yeah, just let me finish. It's a little complicated instructions. We are showing it here, so you can stay here and watch it through Zoom, but we do recommend, what I'm recommending that you do is that you take, first of all, you go to the chat window and get Peter's website address. And when you have that, then you leave this meeting and go watch it on your own computer on his website, and it will be a much better quality video if you see it that way. The sound will be better. It'll just be a better experience, and watch it in a full screen as well. And then when you're done watching the video on your own computer, come back and rejoin this meeting. And then we will have about 20 minutes at the end. The video is about 37 minutes long. And then we'll have about 20 minutes to ask Peter questions or have a conversation with Peter about the piece. And that's, let's see. So that's kind of what we're going to do. If you choose to stay here and watch it, I'm going to share the screen and put up the video here. if you're watching it through Zoom, you'll notice that all the people that are watching it are on the right-hand side. What you want to do is minimize that, those people, all the faces, by pressing the little square that has a single line, and that'll minimize all the people, so all you see is the video if you're watching it on Zoom. So is that clear? Does anyone have any questions about what we're doing here? Yeah, Sandy?
Yes. The link that you had posted earlier is now gone. Would you please repost it?
On chat?
Yes.
I see it here.
I see it too. I need to know, Roshi, what is the name of the video we're going to watch? Because there are several there.
It's called Land of the Living.
Thank you.
I'm going to repost the
Thank you.
I'm going to put it, I'm just putting it on chat again.
Thank you.
And if you can't see it, it's, the domain name is petercunninghamphotography.com. And if you can't find that, just come back on the Zoom meeting and watch it here. The same link that you used to join this meeting and the same password you just used to rejoin. Is that clear with everyone? Okay, so please feel free to leave the meeting now. You can just click right on Peter Cunningham's thing in the chat window. That should take you to his website, and then put it on your full screen on your own computer and watch it. And when you're done, come back and rejoin us here. In the meantime, if you choose to stay here, I'm going to now share my screen and play the video here through Zoom. Okay? Enjoy. Here we go.
I hope people go. I think I'm going to watch it.
We are here tonight together in the land of the living.
Good.
In this so-called daily reality, I'm a professional photographer. My real job is to bear witness through my particular window on the world. My story starts in the Garden of Eden. The title is a translation from the extinct Sumerian language. Their understanding of the words for the Garden of Eden was the land of the living. Most of us grew up with a myth about the garden in which a cisgendered couple are tempted, then tainted by eating an apple from what was called the tree of knowledge. The Bible tells us that when Adam and Eve ingested that knowledge, they were banished from the land of endless flow. This makes perfect sense for those of us who are familiar with the concept of not knowing. When they took knowledge as their own, they became attached to preconception. My photo ancestors created a form known as the photo essay. I will tell this story in a form I call photo mythology. This form is truthful when it suggests that Eden looked exactly like this, or maybe like this. In Eden, there were no boundaries. There were no problems, no opinions, no insecurity. There was no hesitation, just direct response to whatever arose in the moment. In Eden, there was no concept of time. Nobody ever asked, what's next? In Eden, there was no separation. Eden was a weightless sea of tranquility. Then suddenly, a tunnel. Bright light. chaos, confusion. We landed with a giant thud. Ouch! Suddenly, everything required tremendous effort. We open our eyes. We are born. Light, dark, light, dark. Hands reaching, sounds coming out of toothy mouths. They seem to want something from me. I'm not complaining. Looking back, that first part was great, total freedom. I just pooped whenever I wanted. Pee, poop, suckle, cry. Pee, poop, suckle, cry. A world of wonder to explore. Dirt to eat, flowers to crush, a brother to bite. Learning to walk on 2 feet was difficult. I fell over a lot. Being trained to get along with the other kids was even harder. I'm still working on that one. Then, learning the ways of the ones who had come before us, the ancestors. It's breathtaking to ponder their journey. Wolf packs, bad weather, sharp thorns. How did they survive? So many habits of mind must have been baked into their brains, all handed down to us. This zoomed-in family of humans. What secrets lie there in our minds to be discovered? What a gift to have received from all those ancestors. They succeeded in passing on their evolving genes to us through generation after surviving generation. But back to our story. The myth says that in Eden, freedom had been a simple fact of life, embedded in every breath. Playtime 24/7. We tasted knowledge. We fell. Soon things got pretty absurd. What do they mean by holy? What is unauthorized? Forbidden? Where did I hear that word before? Then codes of ethics, rules, laws, punishments, even bedtimes. Who makes these rules? Submission. We had fallen from paradise. Soon we started having dreams. Sometimes they were dreams about tunnels or snakes or about peanut butter and jelly sandwich on hot toast. Mostly, we couldn't remember them. Our heroes lived in a world filled with hostile animals, poison mushrooms, hurricanes, and barbed wire. Adam arose from his first good night of sleep and said to Eve, "The thing I need most is a good-looking loincloth." So believe it or not, the first thing the first couple did was go shopping. Time passed. They noticed that the other animals sometimes stopped breathing. They turned blue and cold and would no longer answer our urgent questions. This is my brother. He wanted to be photographed, to be seen. Our ancestors noticed a pattern. Birth, then a period of life, then this cold and smelly thing. They found there was nothing they could do to stop it. This was deeply disturbing. Where did Bernie go? Bernie went gently into the night, dear. We learned, don't joke about death. In this version of the myth, we posit that in the beginning was desire, the desire for that tempting apple. However, the Old Testament claims that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Long, long ago in France, somewhere near the site of the Cannes Film Festival, cave dwellers painted abstract representations of themselves on the walls. They also painted images of the animals they hunted. They needed them. They also feared them. They grunted things like, meaning, hey brother, watch out for that woolly mammoth creeping up behind you. After a time, a given grunt came to indicate a specific meaning. Words were useful and entertaining, but categories defined by words imposed limitations on our perception. Water? What water? Prisoners in darkness. Plato tells their story. They only see shadows, black and white figures flickering across the opposite wall. The shadows are their only reality. They can't imagine the colorful human source of those shadows, the hot-blooded naked bodies clasping sweaty palms and cursing the sharp cave stones cutting their bare feet. Living in a world of delusion. What are we missing? René Magritte wrote on his painting of a pipe, "This is not a pipe." How do we reconnect? A membrane has fallen between us. I and thou slowly became me and other. Without you, who am I? Am I her? Am I him? Am I them? Am I what I own? What do I need? Am I happy? Am I beautiful? On a good night, I dream of others. You and me, we may not be intimate, but we're interdependent. In order to get along, we make overt rules and unspoken agreements. Social contracts. When they are violated, we lose our balance. Scattered across the global landscape, grave markers, signs, Holocaust museums, place names, rituals, statues, memorials to violent ruptures in civilized relations. Gigantic failures of our attempt at civilized interdependence. The tour guides at Auschwitz-Birkenau say most groups who come to visit, they leave unchanged. They leave more convinced of the opinions they had when they arrived. We try to remember. It can get pretty hellish down here. I dream of one who will unlock it all. One who will carry me away. I dream of pilgrimage. Pilgrimage to a place that makes me feel connected again. Pilgrimage to a place where everyone agrees with me. Pilgrimage to a place where oblivion seems like a good idea. Lust is an attractive option. Falling in love is holy, divine, an intense concentration of mind. Desire makes the world go round. Why each spring does green grass insist on breaking through the blood-crusted soil at Birkenau? Is there a mysterious force, an unstoppable desire to be alive? Is this what motivates us to fulfill the potential of our birth? To bloom, Is this what they mean when they use the word God? But I meander. Let us get back to the topic of civilization and the way it channels desire. Everything we desire is for sale. There is a big economic balloon that's bursting with the hot air of our personal desires. When functioning properly, the system harnesses the energy of those desires for the common good. When we stop blowing into the balloon, it deflates and everything falls apart. The Roman emperors had it figured out. They fed the citizens wheat and wine and sold them tickets for chariot racing in the Colosseum. An amused and full-bellied public is easy to rule. They called the system bread and circus. We in America have our own intoxications, our opiates and temptations. Television, cigarettes, casinos, candy. We have our teams, shopping malls, and our Facebook pages, all serving to ease the terror of our quickly passing time here on Earth. We call this entertainment. Is there desire in space? Back on Earth, where there's a future and a past, individuals' lives come and go. When the next generation replaces us, so little will be remembered. History will record only a small, distorted sliver of what happened. Outside Beijing, Chinese tourists view a model of a palace destroyed by European powers in the Opium Wars. Here, a Roman army laid siege to the fortress at Masada. Not far away, a Palestinian driver passes a settlement on the road to Bethlehem. The Austrian passport of my great uncle, here with German soldiers, honored for their service in the war. Each had their point of view. Who are we without our beliefs? What is hope? Difference is baked into the cake. Some seek refuge in supremacy. Some seek refuge in the exercise of power. Money is a currency of power, as is fame, name recognition. Fame trumps truth. Mostly we are prisoners of our own inexhaustible, insatiable desires. I'll have another, and another, and one more. Some of us live in actual prisons, breaking rocks. Don't worry, this guy clearly has everything under control. So many tribal hats found in my own closet. It's a jungle in here. Us and them. The Bible and the Quran tell us to beware idolatry. Idolatry is a tool. Political leaders go astray when they cast themselves as idols. In the Middle Ages, the crucifix was ubiquitous. Now it's corporate logos. Secular polytheism. Fallen idols. Fallen empires. We Americans pledge allegiance to a flag. We're asked to worship one nation, our empire under our God. What is worship? Is it study? Is it practice? Is worship holding faith and fixed belief, or is it the practice of letting them go? Is worship a way to connect with energy? Is it the pursuit of a vision? Perhaps it's an expression of respect for tradition. Or is it all a grand self-delusion, like these posters in my brother's bedroom? Or this poster in Beijing? Living in delusion is tempting. It's comfortable. John Prine sings, "To believe in just living is a hard way to go. A hard way to go, to believe in just living." Let's consider war and peace. We all need some sense of security to flourish. I'm grateful to have been born into a stable family in a time of peace. Anger arises for all of us. Anger breeds fear. Fear breeds violence. The cycle escalates. Trauma. Trauma leaves scars. Scarred people are vulnerable. Vulnerable to bullies. Bullies are empowered by weakness and disinformation. Entire classes of people are dehumanized. Here, in Rapid City, South Dakota, the Lakota people hunted buffalo. Here, Hutu murdered Tutsi with machetes. Here, in Nanjing, Japanese soldiers pushed Chinese into a river. Here, in Memphis and in Dallas, murders most foul. Mohammed Atta took off from Logan Airport in Boston, my hometown. That morning in Greenwich Village, I thought the approaching roar was a helicopter landing on my roof. I watched Atta swerve to the left, swerve to the right, and then correct his course to tuck his plane into his target with premeditated perfection. The roar turned to silence. For Atta, this was a huge success. For my basketball buddy Mike, this was a violent end to life. It was a pivotal moment. Crowds gathered in Union and Washington Square parks. They wrote of global understanding and the rule of law. In the ashes downtown, the wounded police, fire, and steel workers called for vengeance. We need to beware of becoming like our enemy. Is that happening to us now? When someone close goes away, a piece of ourselves goes away with them. Things change. Life is not as it was before. Grief is our constant companion. And yet, we transform that grief. We go on until we can no longer go on. Did I forget to mention the power of nature? It's been impressive lately. I'd like to close by returning to the Sumerian version of the myth. No, not this one. In Watchman, all events in history happen simultaneously. And no, not this one. Frankenstein with Benedict Cumberbatch playing Adam freshly fallen. They're both mind-boggling, but they're not our Sumerian myths. The historical Garden of Eden is an actual place. It's at war now. It's in Iraq, just north of Baghdad. In Sumerian culture, Garden of Eden is translated as the land of the living. What does that really mean, land of the living? I imagine that for the Sumerians, Eden was not something separate from daily life. This life now, here on earth, with all its mundane realities, is what was understood as paradise for the Sumerians. Sleep, work, play, opinion, ritual, argument, boredom and passion, present tense human activities. All there is just living. The Sumerians didn't write this. Listen, everyone. Birth and death is given once. This moment now is gone. Awake. Don't waste this life. Wake up. Wake up. Don't blink. This is our life. Before we go, a quiz. Tell me, what is this picture? Right. It's Andy Goldsworthy's new sculpture, Watershed. Again, you're right. It's pipes in a Shanghai hardware store. Bubbles in this morning's coffee filter. What's this? Ah, you're amazing. Right again. It's a theatrical curtain in a Bronx auditorium. Congratulations. Thank you for your attention.
A lot of people.
Yay, great. Nice.
Wow. Great photographs.
Oh, amazing.
Amazing.
We before now, I think only 3 people have seen that. It was uploaded like 24 hours ago. It didn't really exist 2 weeks ago, and I've been working on the idea for 20 years.
I think I saw it a month ago.
Not like that, you didn't.
No, not in this form, no.
Yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious what stuck out for you or something.
I really like the, first of all, thank you for being here with us, Peter. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. This is what passes for intimacy these days.
Sadly, I'd like to meet you in person. In fact, I know you were here to do a photography workshop, what, 8, 9 years ago, Roshi?
Yeah.
And I unfortunately had to work, couldn't make it. Anyway, what stuck out for me, a number of different things. I loved your shifting metaphors to build to your point, and how you integrated some of your apparently much older photographs with some current photographs as well as artworks. That was really interesting to me. Really, I got a lot of interesting ideas from that.
We met years ago at a Bearing Witness retreat, and I've kind of lost touch with you all. But Peter, what I really love is the way you can kind of go from the personal to the more philosophical and back, and I think that really made this a very special piece of work.
There's so much there. I think I really would love to watch it again and maybe again. Is it possible to do that?
Oh yeah, and it'll be on the site, whatever, until it's not. It'll be on there. Please do, and please, write me, or I think we're going to make a Facebook something or other, Joshin.
Oh yeah, I'm going to what am I going to do? I'm going to do a posting on our ZOMC Facebook page and invite people to engage in a conversation about this piece. So I will do that this afternoon.
Will it be shareable?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and invite conversation, questions, comments. And of course, you can always go back anytime, and as long as it's up on your site, you can watch this piece again. At your own.
Could I say something, Joshin?
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to say, what an amazing life work, Peter. Having the ability to love you and be part of your life for so many years. I was so moved by the artistry, by the creative depth, and the realization of your practice all these years, knowing its, I think, deep origins and ongoing fuel of inspiration. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John. I hope you don't mind that I tell them that our secret is that we were married like 50 years ago. We've been friends ever since. So she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Your journey, and I'll say, I hope this isn't private, I've been trying to get you to come out in public with a similar piece about your life, which you have back in your back drawer.
I got it. Thank you. Hello, Ara, dear. Hello.
And also, Jean will be speaking sometime on Sunday Morning Zen, which is fabulous. And
October 4th, I think, June. Thank you. I'm going to answer you now, I guess. I'll do it.
Great. Right. And Jean is now a student of Norman Fisher's, right, Jean?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you've been elevated to the heavens, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes.
You're a
Yes.
sensei. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a teacher. Yeah. Transmitted teacher. Yeah.
Is the atmosphere really different up there? I see Elisa and Milo down there. Milo, how are you doing?
Good.
Fabulous. Yeah. And Elisa is the daughter of Bernie Glassman. It's wonderful to see you, Elisa.
It's really good to be with you all here.
So lovely to see you, Elisa.
It's really moving to see you and to June. And John, I didn't realize who it was until you said who it was, Peter. Then I had to like pin. I'm like, oh yeah, that's who that is.
You grew up with her.
Yeah, I did. It's amazing to see you.
Wow. It is great to see you too. Thank you. I hope to see you again.
I was also saying, wow.
Elisa, I missed a trick in that I didn't ask your permission to use your picture. I hope that was okay.
That was just great. Milo appreciated it.
Oh, good. I guess I have one kind of audience feedback thing that I might ask. What do they call it? A focus group. I added a coda to it with the kind of funny thing about the, can you tell what this picture is? I could just end it earlier with, you know, this is your life and sign off. Does anybody have a feedback for me?
I really like the end piece where you're saying, what is it? And I found that interactive, that you're agreeing that we knew what it was when I didn't know what it was. And I think that added some awe. It's just like the morning bubbles in my coffee grounds. I'm going to look at that tomorrow. So I really do appreciate you adding that.
That actually happened last week. I did.
Well, it makes it end on a more playful and a playful note rather than, I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That was my hope. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think your writing is wonderful, and I'm going to watch it again with my back to the screen. I'm going to watch it so I can listen to it. And my favorite line was, on a good night, I dream of others. And I thought, okay, what's good? What's night? What's a dream? And what are others? So that one sentence is just packed with the rest of the film, really, about delusion and darkness and illusion and desire, other, distance. So brilliant sentence.
Thank you. Thank you. The hardest part of writing this was taking out the stuff. I don't know, some high percentage of the stuff is not in it. And to get myself out of the piece. Because when I write, I'm putting myself in there. I'm saying, look at me, look at this clever phrase I just said. And I just, thank God there's editing, because I had to get out of the way and just say enough so that the pictures were understandable or something. That's quite a discipline for me. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of Susan. She knows that. I think she's a wonderful photographer and artist.
Thank you.
Good morning, Peter. Everybody else, good morning. I really appreciated, for me, it kind of felt like a barometer of where I am and what I can appreciate. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that some of the visual stimulation was not important to me, and what was. And I found it very interesting to see what kind of grabbed my heart and what grabbed my attention more than other things. So it was very helpful for me to just see inside what I actually am paying attention to that I didn't really realize, what still hits me, what still grabs me, and where my focus is today. And I was very happy to find where my focus is today through you bringing, life in the world to me in that way. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, great comment. If you're so moved, I'd love to hear more in that Facebook thing, but don't worry about it.
What I remember, there's so many great lines, Peter, but what kind of comes up for me right now was desire makes the world go round. And so it just kind of makes me pause and just see how much my own desire keeps making my world go around, right? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Good thing, desire. Sometimes it gets a bad name, especially in this practice. But it's important. It's an important thing, and it's important to be aware of what it is, I guess. That all of us who went to Auschwitz had some kind of hammer over the head experience, and mine really was that. It was they talked about how the prisoners had literally eaten all the grass there because they had nothing to eat. They ate everything. That ground was completely devoid of life, and yet it sprung up the next spring. There was nothing, let's say, the Nazis could do to kill the grass in that space. You can't, that desire for nature to come for life it's just an undeniable force. And it comes in so many forms. Sometimes it can look like a drunken teenager on Bleecker Street.
There's a way that you, without even naming it, because you did name many things, but you left a large space in there for grief also, and that was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the process, you saw I put in the picture of my father the day he broke his neck. And that was, I totally didn't expect it, but just the picture came up on my screen, and I saw there was a place there. And it was so interesting in terms of the creative process to go from the general idea, pushing the general idea forward, and then occasionally just get very specific about something.
Because I know that photograph, and because it has imprinted in my world and my life, I also was grateful to you for bringing it, and for what was just said about your reminding us of how grief is always with us, especially now, and especially because it's so hard for us in some ways as a collective to see the grief as a learning laboratory, as well as something that remains mysterious. So I really thank you, Peter. That was a beautiful line, and that photograph is one of the most shocking, I think, in my way. Thanks.
Peter, it's really good to see you, and thank you so much for this glimpse of your inner life and how you see things.
Great teacher from New York, and you're teaching at the School of Practical Philosophy now, I believe.
Yes, I am.
He has a lot of good ideas, and he's also a theater director.
Thank you, Peter. I want to respond to your initial observation is that as soon as Adam and Eve wanted knowledge for themselves, that was the beginning of preconception and a loss of connection to the real world. And the photographs and your mastery of collage blows me over all the time, because you see the familiar all the way through the photographs, but you don't know what it is really. And both the knowing and not really knowing, but just what's familiar, and not knowing because of the juxtapositions and the way you've made the collages. And for that reason, I would certainly say keep the ending because not only are those images unfamiliar, we can't possibly know what they are. Couldn't possibly, except they reach a range where it's okay not to know. And even if you deliver the meaning of what your intent or what they actually quotes what they were, right? It's still imbued with a real mystery of not knowing. So thanks for letting us not know more.
Well, Susan knows this as a shooter, that one of the great pleasures of going out with a camera is A, not to have an agenda. You may have an agenda, but you can drop it. So you don't know what you're looking for really. And then you happen upon something. It can be an arrangement of leaves or anything that, whoa, you hardly know what it is, or the pattern is something you've never seen. Anyway, you enter that not knowing space visually.
My friend Frederick, the photographer, says now things find him.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's learned to be very open, and his agendas have diminished and are almost translucent.
Yeah, except you have to get out of bed and get dressed, brush your teeth, and go out for that.
Drink your coffee. That's right. Thank you, Peter, very much. Really, it's a great pleasure. And I saw this at the beginning when you were just beginning with it, and it's really blossomed into something most human.
Thanks, Michael. This was a print piece until 3-4 months ago, and Michael, when I pulled it out of the drawer again this year, Michael was the one person who read it and encouraged me. I think it works better as a visual, as a talking thing than a visual. How do you feel about that, Michael? Will I make an effort to make a print version?
You're muted, Michael. You're muted.
That would be beautiful to see a print version, but to hear your voice and your poetry, I mean, you were really lifted. The language was lifted up by the intention and by what came through your camera, what came through your eyes. So yeah, I think it's the way you show it is the way it is. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question, Peter. What about the soundtrack, the music? How did you collaborate?
Danny's a very advanced musician and a friend. We've traveled together. So when I was doing a similar project, I had the idea. I was looking for a piece of music, and I wanted a piece of music that didn't have melody. Anyway, I went to him and I asked him to. I wanted it to be like bells, like tempo, like the bells we all know. But I wanted it to have variation in the chord structure. I asked him to do that, to be like a bell, but just give me a series of chords. That's what he did. And I liked it a lot.
Well, I think we have reached the end of our morning, and I want to thank you, Peter, for such a wonderful, such a moving, deep and yet light and human piece that you put together and sharing it with our Sangha. And the sense I had this morning is that we have a Maha Sangha here, which is, we have many kinds of communities and Sanghas in the Dharma. And this is an example of a larger Sangha that I'm very grateful to be a part of.
Me too.
Me too. Yes, yes. What a beautiful, really, work of art. And from all these photographs you've taken, all of these, I don't know how many years they've spanned to put together. So Really, really thank you. Also, dear Peter.
My dues are ready, or my dues are overdue? What? I actually wanted to slip in one more quick thing, which is that the practice was a big influence on me all the way through. That is specifically the practice of not knowing and bearing witness. That's how I approach making the pictures. It's how I approach editing and creating things, and it's really useful. Even if a lot of it just comes naturally, it fits. And I like being in a group like this one, who more or less approach things in the similar way, or use that same kind of language. It makes it a kind of family. Anyway, I've always liked it. Speaking of Mahasangha.
So I'll put a piece up on our Facebook page this afternoon, and please feel free to respond in any way you want to.
I'll be outside cutting trees and gardening. I've had it with the computer for a couple days.
Me too. Me too. We didn't get outside. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
Where's Roshi and Sensei? Sensei, Roshi. We're gonna have some choco mint tea and wish you a very wonderful staycation.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah, some downtime.
Well deserved. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Peter.
Hey, wasn't somebody supposed to bring me a cup of tea during a Dharma talk?
Yeah, we were.
I'm working on it. We're working on it.
We're trying to figure that out still.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
What's that?
That's one of No Can Do's cookies.
I thought it was like something in the ocean.
Oh, could be. We'll be in the ocean soon enough. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Aloha.
Aloha, June. I'm failing to leave.
Me too. Failed to eject. What happened? We're still here.
You recorded that, Josh.
Are we here? Or are we not? Are we here?
You were here. There's
Where are
3 or 4 of us. But you can make us go away, Joshin.
I know I can't. It always seems so abrupt and final when I do that. You know, it just like stops.
Yeah,
it's like your father's picture.
Yeah, but that worked out well. I think most people went to Vimeo, didn't they?
I think a lot did.
Yeah, most people did. Yeah,
you did great.
Yeah, that was fabulous. I like your mask, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really cool looking mask, Peter.
Yeah.
Great fashion. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
That's a special one.
Yeah.
Special one.
Very special.
It goes with the Raksu very well.
It does.
See? I've tried that for a while. That's a good Zoom thing, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm stuck. Folks, what am I gonna do?
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.